Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Me and Kyle are here today to answer some of your questions. So let's just get into it. Where's my phone? Okay. Well, thank you also, by the way, for joining us on this beautiful Sunday. We've spent the day making breakfast. We did some chores. We prepped some food. And now we're going to get cozy on the couch. So we hope you're also cozy on the couch. And if you are doing cardio and watching this, we're proud of you. Are you ready?
I'm all set.
The budget only allotted for one mic, so we only got one mic.
So we'll take turns talking.
Okay. Also, we just finished our first ever bodybuilding prep together. It was Kyle's, what number of prep was this for you?
It's my third prep.
Okay. Third prep, first prep for me. But yeah, all these questions were kind of about that. So here we go. Here's the first one. What was the hardest thing to give up? Macy wants to know. You want to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
The hardest thing to give up is I'd probably say the social aspect of food. There's not any one particular food that you hate giving up. I'm not oh, I had to have this or had to have that. But it was definitely hard to not have my mom's scone she brings to work on a random day, or my friends would want to go and you go see a movie and it's you're gonna get popcorn if you do it, so you to not do it, or go
have self-control.
Yeah, and not going when it gets really rough towards the end of prep, knowing you can't go out to eat or to a little social gathering because there's gonna be chips out and you're gonna eat them.
That one was fucking huge for me, because for me, being in prep was my first prep. When you're getting closer to show and your calories are low, your body starts literally it's instinct is yo, we need to eat. Where's the food at? And so when you go to social gatherings, for whether it's your family or it's a birthday party or it's your nephew's 5th birthday party, and there are pizza and cupcakes and chips, and it's your first prep, it is very, very hard to say no to the food noise. And so for me, it was I had to say no to going to those types of things. And people, our friends, our family, they respect that because they understand what we're doing. And so we weren't being dicks about it. We're no, we're not going. It's just we're in prep mode right now. And so we'll still go out and do stuff though, because not everything revolves around food. A good example of this would be our really good friend Ellie, shout out to you. She owns a coffee stand in Kirkland, and she has these community walks. And so we would go to those where we'd meet up with her and her community. We walk around and on beautiful sunny days. And so we get some steps in with friends and coffee because we're allowed to do espresso. So yeah. But yeah, I think the main thing that was hard to give up was the flexibility of food and going out to farmers markets and having the muffins, or just going to events and doing stuff like that, because I freaking love doing that shit. And something I also learned during prep was, after prep, I love to bake. And so I started baking more cookies and bread. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot going on there we could unpack, but TLDR, the hardest thing to give up was the little sweet treats. But we did find ways of making protein cake at night, saving calories, having free meal once a week, so we weren't completely restricted. But yeah, that was definitely, I think, the hardest part for both of us was the fun meals and snackies.
Yeah. Just to add on to that at the end, it's you feel like a bad friend when you don't go to those things, but all of our friends were so understanding and they got it, and that, oh, they get it, but you still beat yourself up a little bit about it. That was the hardest part.
Okay, question number 2. Julie wants to know, my workout partner is my daughter. What is the best way to help each other? All right, so it depends, of course, if you live together, if you don't. So I'll put it from the perspective of, it's your daughter. I'm gonna assume you guys live together, or you're really close. And this could be if you're working on a goal as a couple, or a mother-daughter relationship, friendship. It could literally go any which way. But for me and Kyle specifically, like how we helped each other throughout this prep was we held each other accountable. And so we also work with a coach. So if you don't have a coach, that's also a fucking great place to start because accountability is everything. If you're a person who's like, ChatGPT is my coach, I get my macros, my training off of it, ChatGPT is not going to tell you, hey, why don't you go to the gym today? It's not going to hold you accountable when you fall off. Or, hey, why did you eat that entire tub of ice cream the other night? Like, it's not going to help you. Okay. So get that out of your head. But with living in close proximity with someone and you're working on a fitness goal together, it's actually really good to your advantage because for me personally, if I have a box of Girl Scout cookies in the house, for example, I know that I'm going to devour the entire box in an entire night. I'm gonna eat like, there's no such thing as just eating one Girl Scout cookie. I easily eat 5, 10, the whole box. And so like Kyle knows he should not bring Girl Scout cookies into this house. Or like during prep, for example, towards the end there, the food noise was so fucking loud. And I would literally be on this couch at night and we were chilling. It's the end of the day. And I'm looking at the crumble cookie menu. I'm like, babe, let's DoorDash just one cookie. Let's just order one cookie. And he was like, no. And if he wasn't there, I probably would have done it. And so like, also take into account that when you're working towards anything good in your life, anything that's like such an awesome achievement, it probably took you some really like buckling down and working hard towards that goal. So whether it was like getting your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, passing the bar exam, all of those things you had to work hard as shit for a long period of time. They didn't come easily. And so when you're working towards something like a physique goal, just know it's going to take some buckling down and some elbow grease. It's not going to be super like, you can't have, oh yeah, you could be flexible and like still lose 20 pounds. You can, it might take slower, but you got to make sure you're doing it from strategic perspective because like I said, anything worthwhile and amazing and makes you feel fucking awesome, like losing 20 pounds and fitting into your old jeans, is going to take a little bit more effort in the beginning. So just know that. And when you have someone in your environment, in your proximity that is on board with you, it can make it just an easier process in general, a lot less friction. Because if you're in a house with a bunch of people who are eating like trash pandas, then yeah, it's going to be harder. And so just know that. For you and your daughter, I would say just make sure you don't keep crap in the house, hold each other accountable, and be there for each other if it does ever feel like one of you guys is falling off. Check in. What do you think, babe?
Yeah, no, I think exactly. It's like if you're on your own, training partner can either make you better or worse. Let's say you're gonna go to the gym like 90% of the time and 10% of the time you talk yourself out of it. Well, with the training partner, if you make each other better, you will talk the other person into going. And now you go 99% of the time. But if you talk each other out of it, like you both fold easily, it's very easy for you guys to talk yourselves out of it. Now you're going to go 10% less. You only go 80% of the time, if that. And it's the same with food. Like I learned too with like the crumble. Mm-hmm. I knew if I mentioned crumble, that's the same as me ordering it. Because if I were to mention it to her, she's already on board to get it and she knows I'm on board and there's no stopping it. Versus if she mentions it once, I'm like, nope, we're not even going to talk about that. We're just going to go. Same with the gym. Like sometimes I wasn't motivated to go and I was going to like sit on the couch and time was getting away from me. She was like, she'd offer to drive this and like, oh, I'll drive. And then other times when she was like catching up on stuff from working, I'm like, oh, I'll drive so that, we don't delay and then end up not going. We can just go. And that became a habit, like with the expectation, and it was very easy to go.
Yeah, so like having a driver and having a passenger princess after he gets home from concrete all day. But yeah, at the end of the day, you are who you hang out with. And so having a really good inner circle, if your goal is to grow and work on your goals, hanging out with people who are also doing that is an amazing, amazing, amazing place to start. Because that's literally how I've ever accomplished any goal, is putting myself in rooms and around people that are also working towards their goals. If you hang out with people that just want to hang out and do nothing, it's going to be a lot fucking harder. So little extra nugget for you. Okay, let's do our third question. Here we go. Question number 3. How did you and Kyle meet? All right, how should we start this? Let's see. I'll give you guys some background. Let's start with some background. So I worked at a gym, UFC Fit. You guys fucking rock, Illy. I worked there for about 3 years, and I worked there through college, graduated college. I got a job in management, and I was like continuing to work there. It was about a year post graduation. And I was kind of in between, you know, that year after you graduate college is either, are we going to go to master's school? Are we going to go move across the nation, go get a big corporate job? That was kind of like my trajectory. But I felt so just aligned with that gym, UFC Fit in particular, and the path I was on in fitness. I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay here and I'm going to just keep doing this, working in a gym, managing, training people, what I love. And then I got to a spot where I was like in between places, and I had to either move to Louisville, Kentucky. My mom got married, side note, and that's where she lives. And I was like, maybe I'll just go live with my mom and start this online coaching thing, really see if it takes off. Or he was my colleague at the time, and then he was also one of my first mentors I hired. I told him about, I'm in between places, I don't really know what to do right now. He was like, oh, my friend's renting out a room. If you want to come check it out, rent's pretty cheap. Come check it out. I was like, okay. So you want to start? Okay.
Yeah, and so her colleague was my friend Mo.
He's
And
now our best friend. We love him.
Yep.
Love you if you ever watch our shit.
Shout out Mo. So I lived with Mo in college. We played football together, just good friends. And he was working at UFC Fit training people. And I actually never joined a commercial gym before. But I was like, I'll join this gym. And so I ran into him because I knew he'd be there. And me and him ended up talking for like an hour. Long story short, started living together. And then I like rearranged the house. And I was like, let's get another roommate. There's an extra room. And that's where this came in.
So technically, we were introduced to each other inside UFC Fit, inside the gym I worked at. And he went there for about a year. And then I like went to go check out this place, back to where I was in my story. I went to go check out this room, this random room with 2 dudes in this home. And I was like, all right, we'll see how this goes. I don't fucking know. This might be weird. But like, I was just so kind of content in Washington. I wanted to stay at the gym. And I was like, I don't really want to move to Kentucky. So it was really my 11th hour. And so we get to the house and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I move in. And then I'm living with these 2 men. I'll just say, I'm living with Kyle and Mo for a couple months. And a couple months in, you know, you get to know the people you're living with, obviously. And me and Kyle both meal prepped. We both went to the gym, like, you know, all the fucking time.
We'd be up early.
Yeah, we're both up at 5 a.m. getting our shit done. And like, we just kind of, you know, got to see who each other were before that first date moment, or before like you go on a date with someone and you're showing up as your best self. Like, we got to see who the real people were. And so I think, speaking from my personal experience, the dating world can be hard right now. I think it's hard as shit right now because you're only seeing, for a lot of people at least, you're seeing like the Instagram and the Tinder and like the dating apps, and you're only seeing what people want to see. And so when me and Kyle were together, you know, we saw each other for who we were. It was just such a cool experience. And we were just like, should we date? Like, this is working out pretty nice. So TLDR, you guys, Kyle was my landlord. And now he is my fiance.
Boy! Yeah. And then the Kyle that she got to know too was on prep. So she kind of saw me at my worst, just like lazy-ish. I wasn't lazy. I was working a lot, but I was just tired. And you get a little grouchy when you're not, you know, eating. But I feel like I was still, you know, obviously good boyfriend material and now fiance material.
Yeah. Yeah. When we first started dating, that first couple months, Kyle was in deep prep. Deep prep. And so I got to see that side of him. And then at the end of prep, we got to go on a couple like vacations. We went to Scottsdale and we got to like go to some concerts, and I got to see the fun side of Kyle. And then we had some fun. We had flexibility. We got to enjoy that part of our relationship. And then we kind of locked the fuck in and killed our bodybuilding show. So yeah, we have different seasons like everyone else, but I'm just really happy to be with someone that prioritizes their fitness goals as much as I do, and we hold our standards very high, and I just fucking love that shit. So it worked out when I made a very spontaneous, off-the-wall decision to move into a house with 2 men. Okay.
And I've gotten the question before, like, how do you find a gym girl? Well, you grind and then you become a landlord and then you get super lucky because you never talk to anyone, but your friends will introduce you. So that's the playbook.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's all the questions we're going to answer today because now we're going to go get a pump in and then we'll relax and get a good night's rest for a week ahead. If you guys like this, let us know below. Let us know in the comments what you want to see more of. And if you don't like this, then I don't really care. We're going to still make these. Okay. Peace.